Okay, well, I think we should get going here. I'm going to ring the bell. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Dog Days of Summer.
Morning.
Good
morning, Madam President.
Good morning. I was scheduled to do the craft talk today but I may put it off because Dan has a presentation that may take, I would like to give Dan more time for that. But anyway, my inspiration this morning is from Mark Twain. The more I learn about people, the more I like my dog. And in line with the Dog Days of Summer, there's a little poem, "Dog days bright and clear indicate a happy year, but when accompanied by rain, for better times, our hopes are vain." And I think that would apply to our grape growers who don't want rain in July. But the Dog Days of Summer, the term Dog Days traditionally refers to a period of particularly hot and humid weather occurring during the summer months of July and August in the Northern Hemisphere. In ancient Greece and Rome, the dog days were believed to be a time of drought, bad luck, and unrest, when dogs and men alike would be driven mad by the extreme heat and sheltering in place due to COVID-19. Today, the phrase doesn't conjure up bad imagery. Instead, the dog days are associated purely with the time of summer's peak temperatures and humidity. So I just want to give you a little background on that. It's also related to Sirius, the constellation, which is the dog. Oh, look at Andy's puppy. Good morning. Anyway, Colleen, do you see any visiting Rotarians and guests?
I
think our guest speaker may plug in a little later, but
yeah, I don't. Does anybody else see somebody who's a visitor?
Nope. Tom Tevendale cannot be here today. He's in a conference call. But okay, we'll move right along. Peachy, come here. Come here. I just have to give Peachy one more shot. Come here. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Okay. I just had to bring her on because someone else had their dog. All right, so Diane Booker. I would like Diane from our membership committee, our membership chair. She has some words of wisdom for our group.
Good morning. Good news is the board has approved, as you all know, Tom Tevendale's application, and I put it out to the club and haven't heard anything but positive things. So I'm going to give him a call today and welcome him to the club. So Colleen, he will no longer be a visitor. He will be one of us. So, and our committee is working on how to do a monumentous red badge ceremony virtually. So we'll work on that one. What we'd like to talk about a little bit this month, the month of August is membership month for Rotary. And kind of like what it's, actually I'm going to show you this really fast. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to put this up on my Facebook page for August. It says, "I am a proud member." So you can, I'll share this with all of you if you want. It's just kind of something to remember during August as you're, you know, I think a lot of people, we go through life and some people don't even know we're Rotarians. But one of the things that I found on the RI website was this, just kind of under a banner, is what does Rotary mean to you? As Rotarians, we have pushed polio to the brink of eradication. And it was just kind of these things. And I'm like, yeah, we do that. We all do that every week with our Paul Harris and what we're contributing. We have delivered clean water to those in need. And as Rotarians, we've done that all over the world. Our club has done that in Guinea-Bissau. We have brought light to children in Africa so they can do their homework. We have improved our local communities just on smaller projects through like daily efforts at Foss Creek and on bigger efforts at St. Paul's bringing shower ministry to the homeless. We've provided scholarships to the next generation of peacemakers. We do that with multiple scholarships through the Drew Esquivel Scholarship, through our club scholarships, by what we do internationally, sending our students from Healdsburg out and bringing them in. So we really, I think we kind of need to pat ourselves on the back and remember of all the great things that we're doing and continue to share that with the community and our friends. So that said, we kind of like to remind the club how all of us got here. So Andy, would you be so kind to remind everyone how you came to our club?
Yes, I was actually new to Healdsburg. I had just moved to Healdsburg to become a State Farm agent, and I was looking for an office. And it just so happened that Eric Drew was helping me find an office in Healdsburg, and we're driving around visiting a bunch of offices. And he said, "Oh, by the way, Andy, how would you like to come to a Rotary meeting?" And I said, "What's that?" I did not know about Rotary when I was growing up in Fremont, Ohio. I just knew that Rotary sponsored the Little League team or the Little League in town. So I thought they were Little League people. But Eric told me a little bit about Rotary, and being new to the community, he thought it would be a good way for me to meet people, to get involved. And I said, sure, I'd love to come to a meeting. And that was now almost 20 years ago.
Great, thank you. That's great. I didn't realize that. That's really cool. Is Eric still involved? Is he still in the Noon Club?
Oh yeah, yep.
Great.
Okay.
Couple more people. Nancy, you want to tell us? I know your dad was a Rotarian. You were indoctrinated at a young age.
Well, actually, it was a boss of mine at CBS. He took me to the downtown LA Rotary Club when you were supposed to bring your cute young secretary to Rotary Day. This was in 70, maybe 1970. And then I had an opportunity in Hollywood when I was the Hollywood Y youth director. We would appeal to Rotary for money, and they were always so generous. But Jack McCarley, our beloved Green Man Farms, when I was in the food industry in the early 90s, he invited me to join Rotary. And I thought, oh my God, I would love to try that. So that was 27 years ago. So anyway, Diane, do you mind if I start the little pet parade and then we could add on to that?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I might have to bug out of here, but if I do, if you can help Andy, or if you guys want to just choose some other folks to remind us how they came to Rotary. And hopefully we're going to do this the whole month of August, and we'll just continue to kind of spread the word among ourselves and be thinking outward.
Thank you very much. We will beat that drum. So with regard to our Dog Days of Summer, this is my little pet parade here. Does anybody in this group have a rescue dog? Oh, Larry Mills. Larry, do you want to tell us how you came into Rotary?
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to know about my dog.
Well, I do. Tell us about your dog really quickly, and then how you got into Rotary.
Well, the dog, we just, Barbara and I, about a year ago, rescued 2 dachshunds we got them from Green Dog Rescue, and they had been in what someone calls a puppy mill up north in Cloverdale. And they were not in good shape. They are in good shape now, I'm pleased to say. One is kind of white and brown, and we call him Scout. And the other one is a long-haired black dachshund who's a she, and we call her Coco. And they're wonderful. And right now they're in our bed with Barbara sleeping. So I didn't bring them to show.
You want to take the camera in there, huh?
I don't think Barbara would appreciate it.
And then quickly, how you came into Rotary?
I think I said this in my craft talk a little while ago, but I came to Healdsburg in 2014. I went to the 4th of July celebration at the plaza, and I saw this. It was great, and I loved it. And I saw this guy selling Duck Dash tickets, whose name was Philippe Hobson. I didn't know that at the time, and he had a Rotary. He was wearing Rotary wear, which was kind of interesting. So I knew he was Rotary, and I asked him about Rotary, and he was telling me about the sponsorship or whatever of the 4th of July. And I said, well, I might be interested. And boy, he was on it. He pursued me and got me to come to a meeting. And after that, that was all downhill or uphill, I guess. Anyway, I'm still here.
All right, thank you. And let's see, my next question. Does anyone have a dog in a wheelchair?
Well, not anymore,
Well, used to.
but used to, yes. Little Sherman, he did a lot of traveling. I got Sherman.
Oh no. Sorry about that.
Still going on. I got Sherman when I was in San Diego still in 2001. He lived with us in Washington, D.C., and then moved out here when we moved to Healdsburg in 2012. And then unfortunately passed away in 2013 while this house was under construction. I came to Rotary largely because one of my colleagues in DC, one of the senior people, would disappear to Rotary one day a week and would often talk about it and sort of extolled its virtues. And I thought that's kind of interesting. But I was really busy and involved in some other things. So I didn't do anything about it there. But when I came to move to Healdsburg, I thought, how do I get connected to this community? And I remembered what she'd talked about. And so one of the very first things I did when I moved into town is I actually emailed the club and asked to join.
And the rest is history.
There you go.
Thank you, Lance. I was going to play You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog now, but my queuing got screwed up. Sorry for interrupting you. Okay, so I think we have time for one more. Who has a pet other than a dog, and what is it? Anybody want to raise their hand? Oh, Dan, your mute is on.
That's correct.
And
This is Rosie. We have 2 black cats along with our dog.
Hi, Rosie. And Dan, how did you become affiliated with Rotary? Who invited you? Or how did you? Yeah.
I self-recruited. I was launching a new business in Santa Rosa, and I wanted to get involved with some of the community members and business folks. And so I visited all the clubs in town and decided to join the club on Wednesday noon. And they really hooked me when I heard about the polio eradication project. My wife's mother, my ex-mother-in-law who passed away, anyway, she caught polio in 1952 and was in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. So that was a hook for me. So anyway.
All right. Well, and again, the rest is history. We have another president in our midst, and I think Diane was hoping, and we will talk about this some more, that the key here is to invite people too, because a lot of us were invited to join. So with that, I'm going to move on to committee reports. I did have one last song to play here in honor of Dog Days, but
$1 zillion. question is, who let the dogs out?
We can all rock out here.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
All right. Thank you for humoring me. Now I have to find the meeting. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm back. So I'm going to get my engineering skills down by the time this whole thing is over. Andy Esquivel would like to talk about, it's called SRAG. And Andy, you can, would you please describe what the acronym is? Take it away.
Yep. President Nancy, yes. SRAG stands for Environmental Sustainability Rotarian Action Group. I think everybody received the announcement a few weeks ago that the Rotary Foundation and the RI Board of Directors declared that the environment is a 7th area of focus for Rotary. And it's not a new topic to Rotary. Over the last 5 years, approximately $18 million grants have gone to environment-related projects, so not new. But I think because of the amount of interest, the decision was made to make it an area of focus, which means additional monies will be available. Grant applications specific to environmental projects will be open in July of 2021. Between now and then, you can include the environment in any kind of project as just a factor, not just overall environmental sustainability. But so how do you implement that? SRAG, Rotarian Action Group, is not new, but basically what the Rotarian Action Group is trying to do is incorporate environmental sustainability at the club level. How do we adopt it? What do we do? Do we establish a committee for it? Do we make sustainability a part of everything that we do? And the good thing about it too is SRAG is open to non-Rotarians. If you are concerned about the environment and you want to partner with somebody to make a difference, then Rotary is giving non-members that opportunity and maybe possibly in the future become members. But that's what the Rotarian Action Group is. Jay and I joined a few months ago. We've been attending Zoom meetings. SRAG meets the last Monday of every month at 5 o'clock. And in October, the founder of SRAG, Yavuz Attila, will be our speaker, and he'll give us an update on what's going on. So where we are with our club, obviously it's not a new issue either. We've talked about sustainability, and what we are looking at now as a board is trying to factor sustainability into everything that we do.
Thanks, Andy. I'm pretty happy to say that, before we were sheltering in place, we were all trying to bring our own, at least our coffee mugs, and some of us were bringing plates and spoons. And my goal, one of the gifts I wanted to give to speakers was a mesh bag that people could put their vegetables in instead of plastic bags. So obviously all that's been put on hold for the time being. So thank you for bringing that to light, Andy. It'll be good to join those meetings to get more ideas. So Larry, did you want to say something about the Redwood Empire Food Bank?
Yes. Thanks, President Nancy, and good morning, everyone. I've been looking into volunteer opportunities of all types for myself and as a Rotarian. And I came across, I've been researching the Redwood Empire Food Bank has an acute need for volunteers. The demand for food is just gone through the roof, and there's there are just not enough volunteers at Redwood Empire Food Bank. So I talked to the volunteer coordinator and I went online, and the game plan for them is they have shifts working not in the warehouse, but in a tent outside the warehouse. It's an outside location, and it's socially distanced, and people wear masks, and they have shifts that you can sign up for. There are 3-hour shifts in the morning from 6 to 9. I love that one. 6 to 9 and 10 to 1. And then in the afternoon, there's one from 2 to 5 and 5 to 7. And at first, when I was exploring this, I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we got 3 or 4 Rotarians to go, sign up for a shift and show up together and, volunteer together. And that might be hard to do because people have their own schedules and whatnot. But I thought I would raise the opportunity if you want to volunteer at the food bank and to take a shift. They are very organized. You go to their website and you click on volunteering, and it displays the shifts. And this is shifts for like 30 people at a time. And they show how many slots are still open and how many people have signed up for the slots. You sign up individually so they know who you are, and it has detailed instructions about showing up, where to show up, and wear closed-toed shoes. I mean, it's really down to the detail. But and have I done this yet? No, I'm planning to do it. If our members want to coordinate, and we'd probably be going down individually and meeting at the food bank. But this is an opportunity for those of you who have the time and the inclination to assist at the food bank.
Thanks, Larry.
Nancy, can
yeah.
I just do a quick, I just found out yesterday, speaking of food, Dragonfly Farm at 425 West Side Road, starting at 9 today. Various people with extra food, like produce, bringing it to Bonnie's in boxes. It could be exchanged between local people, but then a lot of it is going to be donated to the food pantry in town. And it's starting at today at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
425 West Side Road. So if you have extra fruit or vegetables, at your place, you could box them, it'll go to good use.
Great, thank you, Edward. In line with this thinking, we're going to be putting together kind of a game where hopefully this game will incent us to go out and do projects for our community. And stay tuned, more to be revealed as we get closer to that, but it could involve the food bank, it could involve donating food to people, picking up garbage. So that's why I asked you if you have a pet project, a community pet project. If you don't have a pet, but if you have a pet project, to let us know. Email me or Jay, and we will include this in our incentive. So moving right along here, I'd like to ask Dan Erickson to give us some information about the foundation. Dan is our foundation chair for this year for the Rotary International. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, President Nancy and fellow Rotarians. I typed this out and I sent it as a attachment on an email to everybody in the club. So if you want to go get a cup of coffee or let the dog out now, it'll all be there in black and white for you to read later. So without further ado, I am the foundation chair for our club. My duties are to share knowledge of and encourage gifting to our Rotary foundations and to address any questions about the Rotary International Foundation or our Sunrise Rotary Club of Healdsburg Foundation that you may have. First off, I want to say it's a privilege and honor to be a Rotarian and to be a member of this club. Rotary is a non-political, non-denominational service organization with 1.2 million members of 35,000 local clubs located in 200 countries across the globe. The Rotary Foundation of Rotary International earns the highest rating from Charity Navigator for being an efficient nonprofit with a small percentage of funds going to overhead costs. Charity Navigator gives Rotary Foundation a perfect rating of 100 based on financial health, accountability, and transparency. So, all service organizations need the 3 T's from their members. They are time, talent, and treasure. Ideally, each of us would bring all 3 T's to Rotary table, but anyway, ideally we'd have all of those, but we at least need to bring one of those T's to the Rotary table. So today I'm here to talk about treasure and to encourage you to consider Rotary when making a charitable donation. I want to emphasize that no one is required to make cash donations to Rotary, and we're not here to make anyone feel bad if they do not contribute money. As a matter of fact, last year in our district, there were 4 clubs that made 0 contributions to the Rotary International Foundation. I trust those clubs were strong in the other 2 T areas. Anyway, currently Rotary has 7 areas of focus that our funds are being used to address. That's promoting peace, fighting disease, providing clean water, sanitation, and hygiene, saving mothers and children, supporting education, growing local economies, and as Andy mentioned, newly added, supporting the environment. The way the foundation works is when money is donated to the Rotary International Annual Fund, they take the money and they invest it for 3 years. They take the earnings from that and they use that to cover their overhead costs. After the 3-year period, half of the money is sent back to the districts that contributed, and it's dispersed through matching grants that the clubs apply for. The other half is sent to the international projects that Rotary supports. When you donate money to Polio Plus, it is spent immediately. Currently, every dollar that Rotary contributes to the polio eradication campaign is matched with $2 from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. As I mentioned earlier, when I joined Rotary in 1994, the eradication of polio greatly intrigued me and appealed to my sensibilities. So, as a foundation chair, I have some modest goals here for President Nancy's year. Number 1, I would like our club to contribute a total of $4,000 over the next 11 months to Polio Plus. Number 2, I'd like our club to contribute $1,000 to the Rotary International's annual fund. Number 3, there's a club banner that we can earn. It's called the 100% Foundation Giving Club banner. I'd like to earn that for our club. To do this, it will require every one of our members to contribute at least $25 to Rotary International. It can either be to the annual fund or Polio Plus. And our club's total contributions need to average $100 per member. And at 33 members, that would be $3,300. So I'll continue to share more information about the foundation throughout the year, but I will end today with an offer. For contributions to the Rotary Foundation of $100 or more, we will match your donation with equal points towards your first Paul Harris or second Paul Harris recognition. Rotary requires a minimum transfer of 100 points, so I apologize for the $100 threshold, but that's what we have to do. So anyway, if you want to get to the $100 in increments, get in touch with me and we can work that out. The points will be transferred when the money is received, and the offer will continue until further notice. Confession, when I first joined Rotary, I was not making much money, so I took advantage of my club's matching offers to help me reach my first Paul Harris designation. I'm sure you have questions, so please contact me and I'll try and get answers for you. And I can let you know where you stand on your Paul Harris status. We do have some Paul Harris pins to award, and we're looking for an appropriate ceremony in the near future. Thanks for your time and attention.
Dan, thank you. With your goals in mind, we should work together to come up with ways to work that into our meetings to see how we can incentivize our folks, whether it be personal donations or auctioning jars of delicious homemade goodies, things like that. So,
Sure. Well, I think we'll get to the monetary goals, Nancy. They're pretty modest. I know some folks are on an automatic contribution program. So you are also donating money to Polio Plus as an honorarium for our speakers. So the monetary part, I think, is very doable. The trick is to get $25 out of at least everybody, or at least $25 out of everybody. That's the to get that one banner. So,
okay.
and we'll be talking about this throughout the year and emphasizing ways to approach this. And but I thought that was enough for today.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, with that in mind, or moving along, I would like to call for announcements. If anybody has anything they would like to say at this time, raise your hand.
Are you passing the club manual?
Yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
talk about, I can talk about that if we have time before our speaker, but I know Doug, you had something you wanted to say, is that right?
Yes, I did. Last Sunday, 5 members of the club came by my house and did a bunch of landscaping work for me, cleaned up weeds, did a little bit of pruning, made my yard look like it was livable. The 5 people were Nancy, Carl, Andy, Larry, and Ed McMahon. And in recognition of that, I would like to contribute $40 to each of their Paul Harris funds.
Oh my gosh.
For the work that you did.
Aw.
Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you, Doug. In fact, hopefully we'll get back and do one more section that we were thinking about. So I will bring that up in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
Fun. Thank you. That's really generous of you. All right, so let's see. Anybody else have any announcements? Andy.
Hi, President Nancy. Yes, I just wanted to remind everybody that the website is up and running for the Drew Memorial Scholarship Golf Tournament. We've been getting the word out through social media. Chris Call got it out as soon as we got it to him, and we're starting to get responses already. I think I forgot to send it to the club, so I'm going to send it to the club. And what I ask you to do, if you would please, is share it with your contacts, share it with your friends, get your foursome together, get signed up. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be different, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you would help spreading the word, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, it should be fun. Diane and I are going to play. We need a couple more women. If you know any more women, Colleen is still on injured reserve, so maybe you can bring us drinks or something.
I would love to bring you drinks.
Thank you. And we are DJ. Did anyone else, Bert, did you want to mention, oh, Bob Mosby, I see your hand. You're on mute.
So I just wanted to remind everyone that the first ever Rotary Sunrise Wine Tasting Group is going to occur on August 29th, Saturday, August 29th, at Steve Rude's winery. So far, everything looks good. We meet all the criteria for meeting in person because we're meeting outdoors. We're social distance. It should be a wonderful, educational, and fun evening for everybody. So thank you for all of you who signed up. We have 12 people, which is the maximum number that we can have. So great.
Thank you, Bob. This should be fun. Let's see. Anyone else with an announcement?
Good morning, President. Good morning, President Nancy. Will Seppi.
Hi, Will.
I'm on the 480 number, not on the video call anyhow. I don't know if this was already mentioned, but just to make sure everyone is aware, a bit of sad news. George Dutton's wife, Karen, passed away. If you didn't have the opportunity to hear about that or read the obituary, it was very well done in the PD. And I'd like to recommend that perhaps the club or the board at their next meeting talk about maybe making a contribution to the Sonoma Humane Society in Karen's honor, Karen's memory and honor of George as well. So passing that on.
That's a great idea, Will. We did send flowers to George as a club last week, but definitely a stronger response is I don't know what the word I'm trying to say is forthcoming. So thank you for reminding us. I know I sent out an announcement, and hopefully we've all been able to reach out to George in one way or another. Yeah, Karen sounded like an amazing woman. So let's see, it looks like our esteemed speaker has joined us. Hello. Daryl, you and I have never met personally, but you are definitely well known in the wine industry. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Edward, would you like to introduce our speaker today? Looks like it's about that time. You're on mute, Edward. You're still on mute. Lance, are you able to? Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yes, I've known Daryl and his family for quite a long time. They're neighbors of us living on Mill Creek, and his son Colby and Tristan have been in classes in high school for quite a long time. But Daryl's been in the wine industry in the States and in Australia for about 40 years, and he engaged in quite a few winemaking opportunities and functions in both countries. He owns and is the winemaker for Groom Wines of Australia, and has got a lot of recognitions with an Australian group, nakedwines.com, as a winemaker for his DRG brand in Australia, the UK, and the States. But he's here to talk about, something that's close to his own heart is this brand named Colby Red, which was started in honor of his son who had heart problems and had back-to-back surgeries. Proceeds from the wine go to charities throughout the States to promote heart health, and it has raised over $1.6 million for heart charities with the American Heart Association and the Children's Heart Foundation. Colby Red was a start, Daryl can elaborate, but about just 5 years ago, it started up. He's been in many ventures with wines in Australia, has a big reputation. He helps numerous young winemakers and professionals in the wine industry, and he gives a lot to the community. He helps with Pigs and Pinot with Charlie Palmer in town. I believe it's usually in the spring. It's a 2-day event, and that raises quite a few proceeds for charities as well. So I'll let Daryl talk because this is not my time to speak on my special things I like to do. So all yours, Daryl, and thank you for showing.
All right, Ed, thank you for that. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, okay. So, thanks, Ed, for asking me to come on and share the Colby Red story. I just thought before I do that, I might just touch a little bit on some of the other things that Ed had mentioned and that may be of interest to Rotary Club members. So one of the things was partnering with Charlie Palmer. So Charlie and I started a thing called Pigs and Pinot 15 years ago. It's been very successful. We used to actually invite wineries to come. Now they call us and want to be part of it. But we do, we've been blessed over the years to raise well over $1 million. And each event we do, we raise about $150,000, of which the majority goes to the local community. And we have supported, I think, quite a few Rotary Club initiatives over the years. And if anyone's interested in our beneficiaries, there's a Pigs and Pinot website that has that where we have donated the funds. And the other thing that I do in the community that I really love is I partner with the Press Democrat, and I run a very successful local wine competition, the North Coast Wine Challenge. That's been something that I love to do to keep me connected with local wineries. But we also run a food and wine festival this year. Because of COVID, we couldn't have it, but we attract 1,000 people, 35 chefs, 90 to 100 wineries. But something we also do yearly. And the other thing that actually pays my bills these days is making wine for a wine company called Naked Wines. A lot of winemakers, independent and family wineries, have trouble in today's times actually making any money, selling wine. A lot of people have tasting rooms that help them survive, particularly for small winemakers. But trying to sell wine in the 3-tier system through the US is really challenging and expensive for a lot of wineries, and you just can't survive. And so there's a company called Naked Wines that did an initiative that was all direct to consumer, that goes and asks winemakers like myself to make wine for them. And they bring the customer to us so that we don't have to go and find the customer. Today, I make over 30,000 cases of wine just with my brand for Naked, which I could never do in my own way. But one of the really great things about Naked locally is they're doing really well in these times of people wanting wine delivered to their doorstep. And we just set aside $5 million to help wineries that try to sell wine through the traditional system, that are stuck with huge amounts of inventory, and there's lots of wineries that are. And we just bought a huge amount of inventory from local wineries that wouldn't have had anywhere else for that product to go, with the shutdown of restaurants and, you know, the shutdown of tasting rooms. So feel free to ask any questions you want on any of those. But what Ed asked me to do was touch on probably the wine that's nearest and dearest to my heart, which is Colby Red, which is named after my son, Colby. Colby's just turned 22, just graduated from college, and is currently studying for his LSAT to go to law school. Colby Red probably starts with my own journey. You know, we all have, we call it in Australia, a spanner in the works, something that detours you from the path of what you're normally on. And mine happened at a very young age. My mother died in a car accident, and I had a really troubled childhood after that because of a stepmother. And I ended up leaving home when I was 14. Because I just couldn't go back to that environment. And one of the lucky things for me in life was I had a brother that took me in to live with him. We were a very working class family, and he was just becoming a little bit affluent, being a teacher and then a politician and a lawyer. And he gave me my first ever taste of wine at about the age of 16. And it was Asti Sparkling Spumante. And I didn't know what I was going to do in life. In where I came from, nobody went to college, but I decided then and there that I wanted to be a winemaker. And I just loved the taste of the wine. I loved the little buzz that it gave me. I loved that I was doing something that was a little naughty at the stage, and it intrigued me. But I found something that I wouldn't have normally found. So I went off to college to become a winemaker, and I was really lucky, I think a little bit through my circumstance, that a lot of people knew what I was going through. I had some really great mentors, and one was Peter Lehman, who was an icon in the wine industry in Australia, who helped me enormously and took me under his wing. But I got my first job out of college at a winery called Kaiserstuhl. And Kaiserstuhl was a large cooperative winery. I was the assistant white winemaker. And then around about a year later, after doing that job, the chief white winemaker left, and they gave me the job at a young age of 23 to be the chief white winemaker of this fairly large, but not highly regarded winery in Australia. What happened next was we were bought by the company next door, which was Australia's most prestigious wine called Penfolds. And when Penfolds bought us, they wanted to do the right thing back in those days. And they said, hey, Daryl, we're really strong on red wines, but not on white wines. We would like to make you the white winemaker of the whole new company. Would you do that for us? And at 24 years of age, absolutely. I said yes. And then a few years later, they said, Daryl, you've been really good at making the white wines. We would like to make you the senior red winemaker of our whole company. So at the sort of age of 26, I was in charge of Australia's most prestigious wine, Penfolds Grange. Those that don't know Penfolds Grange, I actually have a bottle of 1951, and it just sold in auction in Australia, one bottle of wine for $110,000. So that's how sought after Penfolds Grange is. Penfolds bought a winery in California called half share called Geyser Peak, and partnered with the Trioni family. And I came across to California with my wife 30 something years ago now, to take up the position of winemaker at Geyser Peak, working for the Trioni family, who changed my life enormously and are a family that I hugely respect. Things were going really good. We had 3 little girls born, and then we had a surprise baby boy in 1998, which we called Colby. But when Colby was born, we heard 3 letters that changed our life enormously, which was CHD, Congenital Heart Disease. But we always felt we were one of the lucky families. We've now met so many families who don't get to take their children home from hospital. Heart disease with children is the #1 killer. But we were lucky, we got to take Colby home, but we always knew that he would need an open heart surgery sometime in his future. That came when he was around 8-9 years of age, and doctors came and told us, and we could see that he was failing to thrive. And we were told that Colby would need an open heart surgery, the toughest, hardest thing we've gone through in our life. To see your child go through that sort of surgery and recovery and not being able to do anything for them other than comfort them was enormously emotional for us and hard. But Colby did it bravely, and he came out of surgery. But then around about 4 or 5 months later, we were given the devastating news that the surgery wasn't a success, that he would have to go back in for another open heart surgery. That was really challenging because Colby knew the pain and the anguish. He was 9.5, 10 years of age, and he knew that he had to go back in and know what he was going to go through. We dealt with that as a family, okay, as best we could. But what we weren't prepared for was after 2 open heart surgeries, and we've now found out it's quite common with open heart surgery, that Colby went through a lot of depression at that stage. And he also returned to school after having a year ripped out from him, and he had a terrible time during that time at school. He was behind academically, behind socially. He was the smallest, the weakest. And just had a difficult time fitting back in. He would cry at nights that he didn't want to be in this world. He didn't want to live, that he was on the bottom rung of the ladder and just didn't want to be in this world. So as a parents, we struggled. How would we get him on the right path? What can we do to help? And we got him involved in the American Heart Association. And at the age of 11, he gave his first survivor story for Go Red Luncheon in Santa Rosa. And he told his story and he got a standing ovation. And we saw for the first time for a long time this beautiful little smile come over his face. And we knew that this was a good path for him to follow, the joy of giving back and helping other people that might be going through similar things with him. Colby then set up a lot of fundraising. He did a fundraiser in our backyard with his sister where they raised $1,000, and Colby showed his scar in a little tent and raised money. He then started to champion heart walks for the American Heart Association and found this gift for giving back. And one day when I was watching the football, he came to me and he said, Dad, can we make a wine together? And I shrugged him off and said, you know, Colby, I do that all the time. It's a little bit too hard. And he came back and he said, Dad, do you think we could make a wine together? And my wife was looking at me out of the corner of her eye going, you know, you need to listen to him. And so I said, Colby, what do you want to make a wine for? And he said, you know, you do it. And I've sort of watched you, but I'm interested in the science and biology of winemaking, and I'd love to learn from you. And then when I said to him, you know what, that might be a good project to do. That might be a good project to do. He then said, do you think the wine would be any good? And I said, yeah, I think it'll be okay. I've won some Winemaker of the Year awards. And then he said, do you think we could sell it? And I said, well, I never really thought of that. I thought we were just going to make some wine. And then he said, but wouldn't it be good if we could donate the profits to heart research so that no kid would go through what I went through? So we said, you know what, let's do that. That's really great. So we made 2 barrels of wine from grapes that he found in Peter Sagaccio's garage. And we made it with Peter Sagaccio's boys, and we called the wine Colby Red. And the hope was to make 2 barrels of wine and raise $500 and feel good about that. We made a little video what we were doing, and another friend sent the video to the Today Show, and we got a call from the Today Show, and they asked us if we'd like to go in and share our story. And we went on the Today Show on President's Day, February 2011, and we told our story. And at the same time, I had a friend who was the wine buyer for Walgreens, and he had a daughter that was struggling with Crohn's disease, so he knew family struggles. And he said to us, what about if Walgreens took the wine on nationally? Could you make enough for us? We said, yeah, I think we could make enough for us. And then with the Today Show telling our story, we started to get all these phone calls from people that wanted to have Colby Red. So what's happened today, we go forward. A lot of my friends in the industry have stepped up and known our plight. Colby Red's Wine by the Glass at California Pizza Kitchen, at Papado's, at P.F. Chang's, it was at Fleming's. It's served first class on United Airlines. These are all from friendships. Colby Red now has raised $1.7 million that we've raised and given back to heart charities across the US. My son Colby has become a very accomplished and sought after guest speaker. So he now travels the countryside, and we get lots of calls from heart charities, the Children's Heart Foundation, Angels with Hearts, American Heart Associations, and they asked Colby to be their guest speaker. So he's traveled to probably 40 states within the US where he gets on stage and he tells his story. He gives a check for $10,000 or $15,000 to the charity that we're supporting of that particular time. And my wife and I watch him, and we've watched him speak over 100 times. We still can't help to cry with every speech that he's given, and he's quite compassionate, he's funny, but he's also caring. But what the thrill comes is we get so many parents that have lost children that are in those rooms who come up to us and say what an inspiration your son is. We also get parents with children that are suffering from heart disease who come up to Colby and with their little daughter, Chloe, their little son, John, who say, Chloe and John, you can be like Colby. You don't have to suffer from heart disease. So it's been this wonderful journey that we've done as a family. We've helped so many others. Colby Red has been challenging to sell during these COVID times with restaurants all shut down. So we're not generating the same money over the last 4 or 5 months. But I mentioned the company Naked Wines. They knew that we were sitting on Colby Red wine in tank. And Naked Wines came and said, Daryl, why don't we do a Colby Red light wine that we sell direct to consumer on the Naked Wines website. This is a bottle of Colby Red. It's got a heart in the glass that tells the story. And it has a picture of Colby with his very first speech he gave in Orlando in 2011. And we'd recently launched another wine called Wine with Heart with Naked Wines. This doesn't compete in the same channels as Colby Red because it's all direct to consumer. But Naked Wines, we just bottled 2,500 cases of this with Naked Wines in the USA, telling Colby's story. And Naked Wines donated an additional $120,000 to the Children's Heart Foundation for us. And Colby flew to Chicago and listened to doctors presenting their research projects. And Colby could use the $120,000 to grant a research project in his name and of his choice, which the one he chose was for children with congenital heart disease to be able to grow their own heart valves rather than have open heart surgery. Naked Wines was so successful with the launch that we've now just launched into the United Kingdom, and we're donating the same amount of money to the British Heart Foundation. And the wine there has just been released, and the British people have embraced the wine, embraced the idea, and we look like now doing follow-up bottlings after that. So I open it up because I don't want to go on too long, and I could easily do that. Anyone have any questions up to now on any of those things?
Dan?
Yeah, you mentioned a food and wine event.
Yeah, so we have the North Coast Food and Wine Festival. You'll find it online. We had to, because of COVID, we couldn't do it this year. It's all done through the Press Democrat, and we normally hold it in July. But this year, again, we had to postpone it because we couldn't have gatherings. But we attract, it's fantastic. I think it's like $60 or $70 a ticket. It's all the wine you can drink, all the food from 35 chefs. And we've been doing that for about 4 years now.
Where do you hold that?
We've changed. The very first event was at the Barlow, but we outgrew it very quickly. This year was meant to be at Luther Burbank or Wells Fargo Center. The year before that was at Cornerstone.
Okay.
So as we've been working out what's best for the event, we've just been sort of changing locations to suit the growth of it. But it's the North Coast Food and Wine Festival.
Okay, thank you.
Daryl, do you use volunteers for that when you have it?
Not for the Food and Wine Festival, because generally we invite the chefs and we invite the wineries, and we don't have, other than ticket booths and things like that, we don't have a lot of staffing needs. But locally, Pigs and Pinot, we always look for volunteers for the Friday night of the event, which is normally the third week in March. And again, we're happy when we get volunteers, we're happy to take in their requests for where they might want donations to go. I also, when I invite, when we do send invitations to wineries that are part of it, I always ask the wineries, please let me know any local charities or initiatives that we could help, because I don't always hear them or have them on my radar.
I think Andy, you raised your hand.
Right. Hey, Daryl, thank you for
Hey,
sharing.
Andy.
Thank you for sharing the story. Pigs and Pinot has been a big supporter of the Turkey Trot, and the Turkey Trot, of course, goes into our scholarship fund. So just wanted to say thank you for that.
Yeah, and you know that's a perfect initiative for us to be involved in because of everything it represents, and we'll be there supporting you every year.
Thank you.
Wasn't Pigs and Pinot also involved with our 4th of July event?
Yeah.
Previously?
Yep, we have done that as well. And again, and mostly, you know, sometimes it gets hard to give money away because you don't always know all of the great things that are going on in the community as to where you can put it. And our focus has always been community where we can, families and children in need. And then if it's wine or food, that's been also great. But yeah, so we're always looking for really good things to do. We've bought, you know, computers for schools. We've done, you know, Healdsburg Education Foundation. We've series we've given money to, and you know, and the best way to do it is to email, you know, myself, or some people go to Cersei at Hotel Healdsburg, and we gather all the requests, and then as a group we look at it and see what sort of fits.
I know Doug had his hand raised. I just wanted to, in line with what you just said.
I just want to, again, Daryl, I've communicated with you by mail for the July 4th event for the last several years. I just want to personally thank you for your willingness to support our project. We look forward to next year when hopefully we'll be back in the plaza and have 2,000 or 3,000 people come to town to have a big party. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we've been great to support that. And I think initially, you know, Will back in the early days came to me for supporting that. And we were just sad that for a lot of things, because we couldn't hold our event this year, that we weren't generating anything, that we couldn't help even if it was going to be on. But we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can be back next year bigger and better too. So thanks, Doug.
Bob, you have a comment, question?
I have a comment and a question. I'm a psychologist, and I've worked with several people that have had open heart surgery, and I was very interested in your comment that your son suffered depression, because that is a known phenomenon of people that have had open heart surgery, and nobody knows what's happening there. Nobody seems to know what causes that, but it's a very common after effect from people that have had that surgery. So I just wanted to make that comment to you. I do have a question unrelated to that, which is currently, what is your go-to white wine, and currently what is your go-to red wine?
Well, I would have to say my go-to, I'm on white wines at the moment. I don't know whether it comes with age or whatever, but I generally prefer lighter, fresher, more youthful wines. So my favorite white wine to drink at the moment is Navarro Riesling. That would be our families. It's 12% alcohol and just drinks absolutely beautifully. And my go-to, I don't have an actual go-to red wine in terms of one, but I find myself, look, I was taught to make really big, powerful red wines back in my Penfolds days. If anyone ever said to me 25 years ago, Daryl, what do you think of Pinot Noir? I'd go, oh, that tastes like water. But my go-to red wines at the moment, we drink a lot of Pinots.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but thank you. And just interesting, your comment too, when Colby had open heart surgery, I don't ever think any of his cardiologists or doctors warned us about depression afterwards. It caught us absolutely by surprise how to deal with it. Colby still struggles a little bit. He has his first surgery was one to repair his heart valve, which was the best course of action to take, because it meant he could have somewhat of a normal, natural life. But when that didn't take, we had a choice of trying to re-repair it or have a mechanical heart valve. We didn't want to have a third open heart surgery, so we chose the mechanical heart valve, which means Colby's on Coumadin or warfarin, same thing as a lot of people are familiar with, which is a blood thinner. So Colby is a bleeder because his blood's thin, so he has to be very careful. But his biggest challenge at the moment, other than everything that he's sort of gone through, is he says his mechanical heart valve, he can hear it clicking every night, and it drives him a little bit crazy knowing that this clicking noise is the only thing that's keeping him alive. Wow. Colby's facing another open heart surgery now. We thought it was going to be a year ago, and we're meeting now with his cardiologist every 6 months. But right now he's in a stable condition. A year ago, Colby's choices were to replace the mechanical heart valve or to have a pig's valve. He couldn't have a pig's valve when he was younger because there's a high rejection, but he could have done that. But the longer we hold it off, what we're understanding now is that Colby might be able to grow his own heart valve as well. So that would be really great for him to get rid of the clicking noise. And once you grow your own heart valve, then if you had to replace it, it isn't open heart surgery. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, there that he can delay this open heart surgery that's coming on now as long as we possibly can.
Wow. Anyone else have any other questions or comments? Well, if not, Daryl, this was an amazing story in so many ways. Your career and your family. I know there's some chats on here about tears, and I've got one that's in my eye that I keep wiping. Your family has been through a lot, and I really appreciate your sharing this story with us. And Edward, thank you for thinking about bringing Daryl. I realized when you were talking about the going to work for the Trionis that I worked at Leith Winery in those days. So we were neighbors. I knew your name was so familiar for other reasons. So we were probably working at the wineries at the same time.
Now Silver Oak. Yeah.
And now it's even something beyond that. But those were like the early days of the wine industry here in Sonoma County. Your face throughout your presentation just showed so much joy, and it was a pleasure watching you speak as well as listening to your story. I just wanted to mention that. So we will be thinking about your wines as part of our ongoing wine tasting, Bob. We might think about ways to include either some Penfolds with locally your wines now and making Colby part of that event as well. So thank you so much. And to thank you for speaking to us. We are going to be donating to our Polio Plus project, which is Rotary's international efforts to eradicate polio, on your behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts. And I think, Edward, were you raising your hand for something? No?
Yeah, I was telling Sue the dog wants to come in.
Oh, sorry. Now you had something to offer. So I just want to thank you again, Daryl. This was a remarkable story. And I think we're all going to go out and get some Colby Red tonight.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share it. And it is, you know, again, I started the story with you never know what path life is going to take you. And, you know, here I was able to make one of the world's most famous wines, but the greatest joy has been doing Colby Red with my son. And, you know, I can't also help feeling so blessed to live in this wonderful community. And it's a wonderful community of wine industry people who all help each other. But it's a wonderful community of people, and particularly during these COVID times, I've seen how many people have helped each other. We're in a lucky, safe environment, and I feel blessed every day to be living in Healdsburg and living here for the last 30-something years. So again, the biggest gesture, as you get older in life, you get more joy out of little personal things. And I think for me, the joy of giving back, the joy of being able to mentor some young winemakers and help family wineries and just simply give back to people is probably the best, you know, is definitely the best. And if you want to have a bottle of Groom wine, go to Willie's or Valette and you can have a Groom Sauvignon Blanc if you want a nice crisp white wine from Australia.
Crisp white wines sound good right now.
Yeah.
Even right now at 8:30 in the morning. All right, well, thank you. And I want to remind everybody, August 12th is our next meeting, August 12th. We're going to be having Jacqueline Ramirez, who is our street medicine. She's a nurse, right? RN?
She's the nurse that heads up Reach for Home street medicine team, which is the medicine service that we provide for homeless people in the North County. Yeah, and so our club donated along with other clubs in the area to help fund her efforts. So I look forward to hearing how that's been going. And anyway, let me know your pet projects because we want to include those on our bingo card. Maybe Daryl has one we can jump in on. Anyway, with that, it is 8:15 and I will close our meeting and have a great week, everybody. Thank you.